Cool. So without further ado, welcome everyone to today's webinar on exploring AI software testing trends and its implication for the future of work. So let me welcome our speaker, Vikas Mittal. Vikas Mittal has been in the software engineering space for the last 2 decades. He has held various senior level positions like the global head of testing, chief solution architect in top-notch IT and software development companies. Leader by spirit, Vikas has spearheaded teams of testing professionals as large as 1,000 plus consultants. He's also an official member of the Forbes Technology Council, and you will see his name there in all communities and helping the testing world. So I welcome you, Vikas. It's an honor to have you and talk on a very upcoming and renowned topic of AI software testing trends. I think the world is emerging and embracing a lot of AI. And it's very important for us to embrace this change and see what's happening in the world of AI software trends. So I'm happy, delighted to have you speak on this topic and share your insights with the community. So welcome again, Vikas.
Thanks, Jotli. Thanks for having me on the webinar today. I hope I'm clearly audible to everyone.
Yeah.
And it's quite a coincidence that we are hosting this webinar on a day where OpenAI released ChatGPT 4, which is supposed to be more intelligent, has the ability to analyze video feeds as well as the photo feeds and contextual text now. So yeah, interesting times definitely with new things coming into play. I think that the topic which we are going to touch upon today is about AI and the implication of AI on what all we are doing on a day-to-day purpose from an engineering standpoint. But I think today the topic or the discussion is focused more towards testing on how AI can truly eliminate testers and testing jobs. That's that was the fun note. But essentially, what I'm going to share is how AI can actually be the buddy which testers needed for a long time, which can help them truly take the needle forward and do better job at what we're doing today. I think I started my journey with these intelligent solutions way back in 2016. That time I call it real intelligence. Now people call it artificial intelligence. But yeah, that's what it is about. Okay. I think this is something which I've picked up from one of the Gartner's study which got published in November 2022, which states that by 2027, 80% of all enterprise testing solutions will have some element of AI embedded in the tool stack, which would be up by roughly 70%, because today they claim it to be at 10%, which is a huge jump. But that does not mean that this would essentially eliminate the role which test engineers play in a particular project or a product development. I think that has been the kind of misnomer being spread for almost a decade now. I've been hearing it for almost a decade now. There was once this would happen, then we would not need testers. Once something else would happen, we would not need testers. All of us are still there after a decade, and we are still doing our jobs to the best capacity we can and contributing to the projects on which you're working on. But definitely, as the AI would come in, we can definitely look at leveraging AI into all sphere of work which we currently do from a software engineering perspective. And I'll go into details of each and every topic here in terms of how and where it can really help. So if you start from the very beginning, which is the requirement analysis or a strategy definition from a testing standpoint, you can you have AI solutions right now which can essentially understand and analyze the customer's behavior of using your application in production. They can also look at the requirements which are prepared by the product owners in your team and compare them with the industry trend and the industry solutions of how the other industry products or solutions or the industry in general is behaving, and identify where exactly are the gaps in your requirement versus what the expectation is from the industry. So that definitely helps in reducing the rework which we do. The AI, like I said, by analyzing the consumer behavior and the usage pattern in production, the AI solution can also help you to identify what should be your focus area from a testing strategy standpoint in a subsequent release or a sprint. That is where and how you should be aligning your testing resources, how you should be essentially channelizing your testing effort, and where you should concentrate from a test automation standpoint also in a subsequent releases. AI solutions can also help you in generation of test cases. I have personally developed a solution way back in 2017 where I created a solution which could analyze the code of the backend API code written by my developers to generate the traversal paths automatically, the mind maps automatically by code analysis of what can be the possible mind map for a given API code base. Now the AI solutions are much smarter. They can also identify what all kind of use cases you need to test given a specific code base or given a specific UI application available. We have visualization test cases by leveraging tools which can automatically scan your application front end and generate the visualization test cases or perform the testing itself without any human intervention by just analyzing the inputs. The other big area where the AI can help in test design or generating test scenarios is again going into production data, analyzing the production click pattern, the production heat map of your application, whether it is mobile or web application, and identify what are the traversal paths taken by the end user on the application in production. It can also help you identify the data, understand the data in production, and identify from the data itself what are the possible test scenarios it can generate. By also analyzing the load models or the usage pattern in production, it can automatically generate the performance load model, which is one of the most difficult element for any large application to be created. Like I was giving the example a minute back, the AI solutions can automatically generate automation test scripts as well to a certain extent, where they can essentially scan your API code, create the pseudocode of your API test automation automatically, which you can obviously then would be required to optimize and bring it back to a framework approach. And also, solutions like ChatGPT can generate basic Selenium test cases, write code based on Selenium test cases. You also have a lot of codeless test automation tool, which have the ability right now to generate automation test cases or automation scripts. The biggest benefit, I believe, for AI is in the maintenance of automation scripts. I think the biggest challenge for test automation has always been the frequent changes in the front end UI or the frequent changes in the locator properties. With AI and machine learning available now, and with the auto heal capability available in majority of the test automation tools, that cost, that time effort spent on maintenance of automation scripts can be drastically reduced or removed completely with the help of these AI solutions, which will essentially help us to realize the true value of test automation scripts. AI can also help you to optimize your automation code. One thing which all of us have to agree on that everybody in our team does not have the same capability, does not have the same skill set when it comes to coding. And no matter how much time and effort you spend on reviews, there is always a bunch of code which is left, which is not optimized. With a lot of AI-based solution, they help you to optimize your written code. They help you to automatically implement the best practices of the code of your application framework across all the automation scripts which exist. The next big problem from a testing standpoint has always been and still is test data. Because without the right test data available in the right quantity and at the right time with right format can completely derail how you perform software testing. Whether it is manual or automation, test data is required for both of them. And that is essentially where AI adds the next largest value. Because with all current test data solutions available in the market, there has always been a struggle to identify the data which is relevant to production, which is relevant to your industry or domain, and produce that data at mass or scale. But with this, the AI solutions now, they can automatically study the pattern of test data. They can study the need of your test cases and generate data on demand at runtime at any scale. They can also look at the production data. If you feed your production data to a machine learning algorithm over a period of time, the algorithm can learn from the data and start generating data which is used in production by the end customer. The last and probably one of the least focused element when it comes to software engineering or testing specifically is the trend, sentiment, and the behavior analysis of the end customer in production. A lot of time we don't really focus on how a customer in production feels about our product. What are they saying about our product or solution on social media, in our support tickets? How can that information be leveraged and to up the benefit of our testing or engineering efforts? I think that is where the AI solution with the sentiment analysis capability can identify the trend and can also identify whether our customers love our product or they don't love our product, what are the challenges they are facing with our product, and what needs to be done to address those challenges. I think that is something big which the AI solutions can help and bring that information and data back to our product engineering lifecycle. Now let's get into a little bit detail into every use case of what can be done. So talking about the first use case itself, that is requirement analysis, test strategy definition, or test scenario generation, how AI solutions can help you in that way. So the first use case is they can, like I mentioned in the beginning, they can machine learning algorithms can use NLP, natural language processing, to read, understand, and decipher the requirements which are documented by the product owners and identify the inconsistency and ambiguities which exist in this requirement. I'm sure a lot of you would have noticed that in a particular sprint, for the same feature, a user story is provided, which in a subsequent sprint is negated by another user story. These are all the inconsistency in requirements which crop up over a period of time, which today the AI solutions can understand the product, can understand the requirements given over a period of time, and identify the ambiguities or the missing element in the requirement itself, because now they can match the requirement given by the PO against industry standards, against the benchmark, or against other products in the similar domain in the industry and call out what is missing. They can also help to identify the missing gap or in the requirements or in the test scenarios, because now as they have access to uh, as they have access to the data in production, they have access to the data about other industry products. They can help you identify what industry use cases are not part of your test package. The AI solution can also analyze the process model and identify what are the potential risks. So if you talk about any business process model, there are possibility of risk elements attached to your business process, which as a testers we often are unable to find or overlook, because a lot of time not all of us have the complete domain or business knowledge. If you're testing a complicated product like a healthcare product or an insurance or a lending product in banking, there are n number of permutation combinations which can occur in a given process model, which the AI solution can identify and help you generate test cases to mitigate such risk of a miss scenario. They can also look at the production to identify the user flows, usage pattern, and tell you what is the 80% of the application. So, sorry, what is the 20% of your application which is used by 80% of users? Because generally we spend our testing effort testing the entire application, whereas majority of our users don't use more than 20% of our product. So with those insights and information available, we can spend more time to do more exploratory testing, identify more test scenarios to that on that 20% of the product which is really used by our end customers. I'm not sure how many of you have actually tried to create automation script, at least the front end automation script, by just using design markup before any code is written. You don't really need a AI solution to do that. You can obviously do that with uh, the regular intelligence as well. Like I did it way back in 2015 when I started working with my engineering team, convinced them to use the same naming convention for all UI controls and locators. And thereafter, I don't need to wait for a build to be available for me to create my automation script. I can just assume the flow of the application by the UI mockups available to me, and I can automatically start coding my script because I know what would be the naming convention followed by my developers when they create the UI screens. That I used to do because of a common understanding with my developers in 2015. But in 2023, there are AI solutions which can just take a Figma file as an input. And once you provide them a Figma file as an input, they can automatically generate the front end UI script in certain specific tools, which you can then port and use for your test automation. The other big, I think the major impact of AI is on the self-healing capability using computer vision AI. I think that is a problem which all of us have struggled as front-end automation engineers over a period of time, that you always have the locators changing in production or not able to identify what is the right locator to use to run your scripts in production. With these visual AI solutions or tools, they can identify not only the change in locator properties, they can also help to identify what is the right locator to use in production, or sorry, in testing life cycle to execute your test cases. And obviously, they now have auto healing capabilities, which can automatically update the locator properties at runtime while the execution is happening, reducing the amount of false positive which occurred and led to multiple reruns or the spent of effort on analysis maintenance of automation scripts. One critical aspect when you talk about mobile applications specifically is, how do I know what buttons are clicked by the end consumer when they are moving on my mobile app? Now, if you talk to any mobile app developer, there are APIs available which can capture the heat map or of how the user was essentially clicking on the application. To provide that information along with the usage pattern, you can create or identify what are the journeys followed by the user in production, what are the fields he's not providing data for when using your application, or in which sequence is he entering data on a particular form when performing action in production. All these information are critical because at times I've seen bugs being reported just be, just because of a change in sequence of entering data in a field in a form. So AI solutions and code spell techniques can also generate API automation test cases by scanning the code, thereby reducing the effort and time spent on building API automation scripts by the automation engineers. All those things can be done now automatically through the AI solution. And if you have not yet tried using a machine learning algorithm in your project to generate test data, I think this, in my recommendation, this should be the first use case you guys should try after auto healing, because that would sound like fun, but this is the one of real value add for you. If you can use machine learning algorithm to predict what data sets are most likely to cause defects in production. So that would help you to identify how to change test data which is being used by you in your testing life cycle to reduce the number of defects reported in production. I think all of us have faced scenarios where the application works perfectly fine for a given set of data, but suddenly the same application, same user screen don't work as expected with a different set of data, which unfortunately is always provided by the end customer in production. The machine learning algorithms can also identify patterns in data, and by understanding the data patterns in data of in production, they can identify and generate the relevant test cases automatically. Because with the change of data, there can be some new business scenarios or test cases uncovered or workflow triggered, which we never identified when we were writing our own test cases. I've I've built a solution in 2017 where we created a machine learning algorithm which basically automatically used to generate test data for us by giving some user inputs or parameters. So if I had to generate data for 10,000 users living in Ohio, the specific age bracket with specific education, my algorithm would automatically generate data by picking up colleges, universities, schools in that region, matching that data profile, and publish that data for my automation scripts to pick up and use. The AI or ML algorithms can also help you to analyze and remove irrelevant or duplicate data from your test data. So one thing is to generate data which is relevant. Second thing is to remove data or remove use cases which we are testing today, which are no longer relevant. That is again something which essentially the AI solution can help you build and deliver on. So this particular slide which I'm sharing with you is an actual use case implementation which I did with a customer in 2017, end of 2017, thereby which I was able to reduce the amount of test cases executed or maintained by them by 90%. And I was able to reduce the production defect slippage by 80%. What I did was to basically combine together the data which is captured as part of the engineering life cycle, that is your user stories, your review comments, your defects, your test cases, the automation script pass and fail ratios, marry that data with your production information, that is your production tickets, the telemetry or the production usage data, bring them together using logistical regression algorithms to identify what is the usage pattern of my application. That is one. Second, in which sequence, if I publish my code, I'm likely to get more defects or less defects. Third, which developers are likely to leak more defects in my code base. Fourth, what should be my effort spent or what should be the amount of defects I should expect in a particular release. All those things I was able to calculate using these two data streams, using predictive analytics by building the machine learning algorithm using logistical regressions. I think this probably is my final slide of how essentially the humans and AI can essentially work together and test better together. So, like till now, you would have understood that there are multiple use cases where AI solutions can definitely help us improve the coverage which we have today. They can complement our human skills with intelligence with real insights to help testers with domain knowledge plus the AI market analysis to bring more holistic approach to our testing. We can use generative AI capability to automatically generate test scenarios by going through the requirements, understanding the requirements, analyzing the code, and ensure that no scenarios are missed. AI can help you bring together the user insights, which can tell you a lot of details about how your end customer is using your application, what is your competitor's selling point, what is the competitor's market sentiment and user sentiment analysis compared to your product, how the industry is evolving in your area, how the new rules, regulations are coming in and impacting the way you test, because we can't keep on learning the new healthcare rules which come in the market every other month. We can't keep on learning the new banking rules and regulations which keep on coming every other month. Somebody has to keep that part or that knowledge updated and ensure that we are covering those new scenarios, right? They can also help you to optimize. AI can help you to optimize what you are testing today, thereby saving you a lot of time, effort in terms of automation script development, maintenance, test scenario documentation, test data generation. Overall, reduce the amount of time, effort, and cost being spent on testing, improving the quality and improving the time to market. And finally, AI solutions can improve governance. They can bring transparency to the governance element, and we can go beyond the regular test case pass fail ratio kind of KPIs and matrices, automation script execution, productivity kind of matrices, we can truly identify and understand what is our true coverage from a testing standpoint today versus what are the scenarios being used in production. It can help you identify or do a coverage analysis of your testing with code by eliminating redundant or duplicate code or optimize the underlying application code itself. It can help you create KPI dashboard which makes sense. Because today we use and present a lot of matrices which don't make sense or which are no longer relevant or essentially required to be used. So with that, I'll take a pause and probably Jocelyn, we can open up for questions. If there are questions, we can definitely pick it up.
Yeah, there are a lot buzzing in. So yeah, keep those questions coming. We'll take them one by one. So there's a question from Sunil as well. Right now, we're talking about all the benefits that AI is, giving to us as testers, as engineers, right? But what do you think are the top challenges, that you see when it comes to AI systems or in AI or using AI powered tools?
See, the AI is definitely all powerful and helpful, but one thing like with with AI, like any other solution, is it's garbage in, garbage out. So if your data schema is not correct, if which from which you're trying to generate insights or analysis, you'll not learn anything from any given AI solution. If your approach to testing is not correct, then no matter what AI solution you use, it will not give you any long-term benefits. So for you to make really effective usage of AI solutions, I think the fundamentals of testing still need to be strong. Fundamental of your application development still have to be valid, and your data, the right data, has to be captured in the data in your databases in production. Then only you can use any AI insight and solutions to really make or you take benefit of it.
Mhm. Cool. So we are getting a couple of questions, and some of the participants are also new to the world of AI ML, right? So like even Maheshwaran asks, and Souvik is asking in the chat as well. Like someone like a tester has no knowledge of AI ML, while they understand the use cases, but where should one get started? How can one learn about AI ML in software testing? Any suggestions, any tool advices, and things like that?
Correct. So there are actually multiple tools which people can start leveraging or start basically focusing on using AI or ML in their testing practices, right? Let's start from the very basics. Is the first part for you to really understand how the AI or ML solutions can help you is to learn how the telemetry works. So because that would help you understand what is the data being captured in production for you to even put to an algorithm. For you to learn how to use or to know basics about AI and ML, there are some very good resources available from Gartner, which you can actually use to understand the basics of AI and ML. There are a lot of good fundamental courses available even on AWS or other partners who talk about their. Because one thing which you also need to understand, the way we see AI and ML today is going to change fundamentally in next couple of years again, because a lot of these cloud providers are coming with their own solutions and plugins for AI and ML. For you to pick up AI ML as a discipline, I think what you should be focusing on learning is more statistical techniques first. Because once you understand those statistical techniques or get a general sense of how to understand how to map data, then you can get into machine learning algorithm and then AI. Don't start from AI first. First, get to the basics, machine statistical techniques, machine learning algorithms, and then get to the stage where you use AI. From an automation standpoint, there are tools like obviously ACCELQ is there, which already has built-in capability for using AI. You have Tricentis Tosca, you have Eggplant. There are multiple other tools which gives you a jump start or a kickstart, at least from a user standpoint, on how AI or ML can help. And like I mentioned, auto healing is the most easy feature which you can try.
So So we got in terms of how to get started, but Suresh has a different question like what skills you actually need to make someone feel kind of AI ready. Any
Okay.
anything
So
there?
so that depends on what do you need to be like. What are you looking for to achieve by being AI ready? Are you looking to be a user of AI or are you looking to be a producer of AI? So if you're looking to be a user of AI, then you need to definitely understand your use cases which you're looking to solve from AI, and then identify the right product which help you to build on or solve that use case. Because one thing is fundamentally there, that every automation tool or every engineering tool which exists today does not do everything and for you. All of them are strong in some specific use cases. All of them are weak in some specific use cases. So as a consumer of AI in testing, you'll have to identify what are your use cases you're trying to solve, and then pick up the tool relevant to your use case. If you're looking to be a producer of AI, that if you're looking to build a tool or a solution which helps others to leverage AI, then again you have to identify what use case or problem you want to solve. Like I started with solving the problem of auto healing in 2015. I then picked up the problem of test case optimization in 2016. Then I picked up the problem of generation in 2017. So I also picked up one problem at a time to build my AI solutions on for every specific use case. And every use case had a different set of algorithms for me to learn, had a different set of data points for me to look at while building an AI solution.
Great. So we're now coming to certain things around how AI can ensure security and regulatory restrictions. So there's one question from Krishna, and I'd like to put it in shorter words. He asked regarding there is AI requires a lot of data and data modeling to understand and learn. Before going live into production, right? So if there are any, financial institutions and regulatory restrictions, and um, um, where do you see any challenges when it comes to AI and how security can be ensured when it comes to leveraging AI for, critical or PII kind of data where there are restrictions?
Okay. See, with the applications which are around financial ecosystem or healthcare, there are always restrictions. Forget about AI. Even for me to use that data in my testing life cycle is not possible because I have to mask all of that data before I can bring it one environment down from production to my UAT or staging environments. So that is definitely there. Before for any algorithm for any financial institution or healthcare data, you'll have to mask that data and bring it down to your environment of staging or UAT, and then only you can learn or execute your AI algorithm to understand the data patterns. But I think majority of like I work with a lot of financial customers today, and all of them have some element of AI already running on their production system. Obviously, with security restrictions on what all data set or what all information AI solution can also read in production, where they are already using that uh, data sets and algorithms to identify cross-sell and upsell opportunities with their end customers. So I think to for that data to expose for engineering is uh, is a tough ask, but you can definitely get a mass data in a lower environment, and that is where you can learn your algorithms to understand or find patterns from your data, for specifically financial institutions.
Right. So there's also a question from Shubham. So he asked more in terms of you created the kind of a locator naming mapping convention. So when it comes to developing such kind of locator mappings, like uh, how can developers start working? Say you want to start working on building something like this even before the UI is available. So more like shifting left. Any suggestions there on how you can tackle such kind of scenarios?
Make your developer your best friend. That's the only way it is possible. And I think one thing which has really
Mhm.
happened in the last uh, 5 years or so, when Agile came into play, uh, originally the motto of Agile or the purpose of Agile was that you have to communicate more, collaborate more, and together as a team deliver more in a consistent way. But what has essentially happened is over a period of time, in an agile scrum team or sprint team, and COVID probably elevated it more, people started to work out of their own silos and they're not talking to each other. But so for you, Shubham, for you to establish anything of that, which I did, was to basically work with your developers, make them understand your pain as an automation engineer. And if you frequently change UI locators, how it impacts what you are doing as a test automation engineer, how those developers can really reduce your effort and rework by following a consistent naming convention for the locators by probably including an automation ID or at least follow a standard naming convention. The only reason why they will do it for you is if you can help reduce their work when they or the effort they spend in testing. So it has to be a collaborative human approach to talk to them. Once you have those naming conventions defined, I think then you can blindly trust your developers to use it and automate your scripts automatically.
So there is another interesting question from Krishna, and he talks about, we kind of use customer behavior data and customer analytical data or heat maps to identify, the interactions on the applications, right? And then we kind of get some idea on what we need to prioritize in terms of our testing, right? So how different this will be from an AI producing some outcome and prioritizing the test for you?
So what we do today, Krishna, is on a limited amount of data set or a limited number of transactions which we do, right? What AI would help you is it would basically, instead of analyzing probably 10% of your data or probably 100 heat maps, 100 transactions, it can continuously look at and evaluate and keep on adding to the repository of knowledge of every interaction your consumer is having with the application to create a more generic and more wider intelligence and information set. That is one. Second, once it has that information, it can automatically use natural language processing to document test scenarios which map the usage pattern in production. Third, it can identify what are those 20% scenarios which are being used by 80% of your customers. Because as humans, as you would be analyzing that data, you would either miss something or you'd probably stop at after some time. But with AI, like automation, it can just keep on running without getting tired.
So there is a question where, teams are kind of today working and already have an existing testing process and, testing methodologies already in place. Now, how do you think testers can start to integrate and start to adopt, including AI into their processes or solutions that they're doing?
See, so there again, I think you, as a team, you'll have to identify what is the most troubled point right now, where you're spending the maximum amount of time and have the maximum amount of frustration in the process. And that is where you'll have to then identify the product or a solution to solve that problem. Just to give an example, we were working with a customer recently, and their biggest frustration, being an e-commerce company, was that I cannot test my application on hundreds of possible browsers and OS combinations because every browser has minimum 5 to 6 versions. You minimum have 5 to 6 browsers. Then again, you have multiple OS versions. Nobody tests that many number of combinations, right? And second, I'm not talking about only functional automation. I'm talking about visualization as well. That is where we implemented Apply tools for them, which now covers all these possible combinations in fraction of minutes from a visualization testing standpoint. So that was a business problem which we identified with them. Then we identified what is the right tooling for it and implemented it. So there are always opportunities in your current life cycle also where there is a problem which exists, there's a solution which exists, but you need to identify and find out how to leverage them together.
Great. So we're talking more on applications of AI now, how critical and how difficult or how easy it is in testing some of these tools to ensure that they are giving the right output for us, right? Because one of the most major concerns now, even when we look at Chat GPT, is it giving us the right answer? Is it trustworthy, right? So what are your viewpoints on testing some of these AI tools or AI models?
See, I drive a car which has an auto drive assist,
Mhm.
but I still hold my steering. So that's my piece of advice for any AI solution. So let AI be a suggestive solution for you, somebody who's recommending options to you. But at the end of the day, follow your own brain, use your own tester's knowledge and acumen to identify whether I should consider this input or not. Don't blindly embed AI into your process and just allow it to run without a check. Like in testing, we have that analogy, right? In God we trust, everything else we test. So
True.
that's the base funda.
That's correct. Awesome. So, yeah, there is one from Mahesh, but he's specifically asking on tools. I'm not sure we may have an appropriate answer, but he's talking about he wants to explore more on generating test cases and requirements, more, in terms of mobile applications. So, are there any build tools available which you can help him with, or any
Correct.
suggestions?
Correct. So if you're looking from a automation tool which can help you, okay, when you're talking specifically mobile application, right? When you're talking specifically mobile applications, then what you would like to understand is if your application, I mean, I'm assuming your application is already in production. And what you would like to understand is what is the heat map usage of my application in production? One, what is the feedback of the users for my application on Play Stores? Two, third, what are the kind of support tickets I'm getting? So there are a few tools which help you achieve the objective of generating test cases or generating automation scripts through by analyzing these data patterns. I think you can look at Transcendis Tosca, which it can do all of this. You can look at ACCELQ, it can do these capabilities. You can look at Eggplant. Eggplant can also do has such capabilities. But my recommendation would be either Transcendis or ACCELQ. Those two are the tools which you can look at to follow, sorry, generate your test cases automatically.
One more thing right now, we talked about AI, and you also mentioned, you always keep your hand while driving. So where do you see the fitment of a role of a human, right? And we always talk about is a role of tester or role of a human going to be redundant with the coming of AI. So where do you see synergies where a role of a human will play a part, and where do you see that synergy to happen when you are working with AI tools?
See, if you look at, forget about AI for a moment. Let's talk about the current situation without the AI. Without the AI, where do you feel the need of a tester today is? What are the areas where a tester truly add value? One is the requirement analysis and identification and documentation of test scenarios and test cases using his own IQ, acumen, knowledge, and the uh, as a user of the product. Second is to essentially uh, execute those test cases, convert them into automation scripts. But beyond automation scripts, my fundamental belief is anything which is documented should be automated. Anything which is automated should not be tested manually, because then I would try to run the checks. I don't call it testing. The checks to run automatically, and I would like the tester to focus on testing, because then a tester is made available and free to do more exploratory testing, think using his own brain, identify scenarios which he believes are not documented, and test more like a user. I think that is an area where even after AI coming into play, humans can add value. So let's suppose I'm building an application which uses human gestures or which uses uh, human sentiments. AI can do whatever, but it cannot mimic human sentiments. It cannot really build out those elements or voice, right? So that is where I think human testers would still be required. A, from a requirement analysis, B, from an exploratory testing perspective.
Great. So, because you're also talking a lot about, a lot of these capabilities like generating test cases, self-healing, generating test data, and all of the AI capabilities that you talked about. So, where do you see today is the state of all of these applications in the world of testing? Do you think they are ready for testers to leverage and trust, or is there a lot of more work that needs to be put upon all of these features? Where do you see uh, the scope, and where there could be more research or expansion that can happen?
I think there are three fundamental areas where I believe the AI solutions have reached a stage where they can be used with some degree of confidence. One of them is automation script generation and the auto healing. I think that is an area where a lot of tools have reached to a certain extent of maturity. The other element which I believe with the AI tools can really help or have reached a level of maturity is the production data analysis to identify the usage patterns as well as the test data generation. So I think those are the three use cases where I believe the AI tools have achieved a good level of maturity for them to start using it. But now, again, here comes the fundamental question. Am I looking to create automation scripts or a specific pattern or use cases? Or am I looking to create a reusable framework which is used across my team? So that is again a engineering decision which you and your team will have to make that do I want to follow a framework driven approach or do I want to follow a test case driven approach when I come to automation?
Great. Thanks. So there are certain suggestions on tools. I'm not sure, how much you have come across tools, but Shubhan asked, like, can you recommend any AI-based tools for fake data generation? Have you come across any? Or I think you mentioned you built something like this as well.
Correct. So,
So
yeah, so
yeah,
I've built tools on my own, which essentially do those capabilities for me. But there are tools also available which can generate the test data for you if you want to generate test data. So there are tools like Leapwork, there are tools like Data Robot, which use algorithm to generate test data automatically for you. So you can try these tools, Leapwork and Data Robot. They can generate data automatically for you.
so there are others as well. Like there are plugins like Bug Magnet. Also, I've seen
Correct.
Chat GPT also producing a lot of good amount of fake data if you give it the right context.
Correct.
So yeah, there is options there. So that's for you, Shubha. Yeah. So Mahesh has a question like, I think it's specific on a use case front and probably on the ideation front. So it's more in terms of bug reviews, like, whenever bugs are logged, they miss a lot of expected information. So do you think AI solutions can automate something like this in Jira or in per se a platform,
See,
where test management is?
ideally, ideally, I don't need an AI solution for it. You can just write your own simple automation code or just a simple code using Jira plugin to automatically match your bugs logged against a given template and then verify. I think I created a plugin for that into 2019, which is I'm planning to launch on Atlassian Marketplace soon, which actually does that use case. So it will come as a plugin to Jira, and it will automatically match your bug template against the bug log and alert the testers of whatever the basic information is. Plus, can identify the duplicate bug. So if a bug has already been logged in the past, it can identify and mark the bug automatically as a duplicate.
So for people starting off with us, and you mentioned you created a lot of this AI tools right now. So the matter is more about using an algorithm or a model, right? So like ChatGPT uses, the GPT 3.5 version of it, right? And uh, all of these models, all of these algorithms are available. So how to decide on choosing which one fits your bill, or creating some sort of a custom tool specifically for your teams, right? So any suggestions there based on tools you have created?
See, all when I started creating tools, unfortunately there was nothing like ChatGPT or OpenAI. So I essentially worked directly on the data which was available to me. But today you have OpenAI exposing all the APIs from ChatGPT. But that is only from a generative standpoint, right? But if you're looking to build a solution on your own data, I think the fundamental thing is you need to pick up a programming language, you need to pick up set of libraries with which you can work. So I started coding in Python because that was I that was the language I was comfortable with, but it was easy to pick and learn. And fortunately, majority of the data science guys at that time also used Python only. So for me, my recommendation would be to use Python as a programming language if you're looking to build anything or any solution to support AI or machine learning. And like I said, the first step is you need to understand statistics, then you need to understand your data, taxonomy, then machine learning, and then AI. Don't jump directly to AI, guys. The first step is you need to understand what is data taxonomy, what is statistical analysis of it, machine learning algorithms, and then AI. So AI is the last step, not the first step.
Great. And since you're talking about programming languages also, I just want to put in a question and not skip one asked by Sunil. So he asked like, does AI support all programming languages or any specific language? You mentioned Python, but is there a specific favorite or a limitation in terms of programming language? According to you?
So majority, like the maximum support from a library perspective for AI solutions is in Python right at this moment of time. But having said that, even with other programming languages, there's no restriction. You can definitely build a machine learning algorithm in Java, C Sharp, or any other programming language. But if you're looking for more open source community support, then it is more with Python.
Cool. So yeah, just out of curiosity, Mahesh asked, what's the name of your plugin that you have in Jira Marketplace? I think it's not launched, right?
It's not yet launched, Mahesh. So I'm basically working on launching my solutions, which all I've talked about today. I'm working with Atlassian at this moment of time, and hopefully in next quarter, all my products would be launched in the marketplace on Atlassian marketplace. And I think in a month or so, I'll be launching my website also on globaldestinexperts.com, and I would be listing out all my production solutions on my website.
That's great. I think something for all of you to look out for. Right. So we have just a few minutes, and I don't want to skip asking you some quick questions. Like as testers, right, and every organization has different context of testing and purposes or business purposes to serve. So, what are your quick bits regarding how to choose an AI tool for your purpose? Any aspects or any things that you see an AI tool should have? Uh,
See, whenever I pick up a off-the-shelf tool, I look at only three things. A, does it solve my problem directly or not? Second, what is the level of community support available, not the paid support from the company? What is the level of community support and knowledge base available for the tool I'm picking up from off the shelf? Because after a certain point of time, the company support is free only for the first year. Post that, you have to pay for it. And if a tool does not have a community around it, then more often than not, the tool will not survive beyond the first 3, 4 years. And anytime you're buying a license of a tool, it is a good amount of money investment. You want to look at what is the level of community support or community behind that particular tool. Third is what is the ease of use with which the most lazy person on my team can pick up and use that tool. Because you're not buying the tool for the most intelligent person on your team. You're buying a off-the-shelf tool for the most lazy person on your team. So that is what I look at when I pick up a off-the-shelf tool. If I'm building my own solution, the options will reverse.
Excellent pointers there. That's very good. Pick a tool, that a lazy person in your team can definitely work on. I think that's a quick, nice cap, on choosing and deciding what and when to go for AI power tools. So awesome there, Vikas. We are on top of the hour. I'll end it with just one quick question. Where do you see the future of AI in testing?
I definitely see, not only in testing, I definitely see AI becoming more and more embedded in the product engineering lifecycle altogether, not only in testing. I think the people who should be more worried about AI coming into play are the people running the ops in the software engineering on products rather than people who are actually part of the core engineering team like us as testers. The other people who should be probably more worried about AI is the data science guys, not us, because the first people to replace after ops will be all the data scientists on the or the data analyst, not data scientist, the data analyst role in our team, which will be replaced by AI. Finally, it will come to testers. But till the time you're able to showcase your value as a tester, I think you should not be worried about anything coming. Like I've lived enough in this industry for 2 decades now, and when I started my career, from that time onwards, I'm hearing the testing is going to get replaced, and I'm still there after 20 years.
So yes, I think it's a perfect end to this webinar. Testing is not going to be replaced. Testers are still there, I'm sure. And you may know the recent case of Bard, where it cost a lot of millions, with not being tested properly. And in fact, the CEO himself asked, to test that tool really well. So testers are here to stay for long. I think we are playing a big role for sure. And, the future of AI is promising for sure. So thank you everyone for being here. It was uh, great to have you all dedicate an hour on this particular Wednesday to invest in your learning. So thank you so much. And uh, unfortunately, we couldn't take all the questions from you guys, but Vikas is definitely available on LinkedIn and very approachable. Any pending questions, feel free to reach out to him, or you can reach out to me and I can cascade your questions to him so that we can get all of them answered. So thank you and good day, good night from wherever you're joining in the world.
Thanks,
Uh,
everyone. Bye bye.